Alright, welcome back. Hope everyone's having a lovely day, a lovely night wherever you're from. And real quick before we get started, as always, I want to give a lovely shout out to the channel members on this channel. So thank you so much to these lovely commanders here that you see on screen. Thank you guys so much for your guys' constant generosity and your support to me as always. It really means a lot to me, so thank you guys so much. And if you guys are actually interested in becoming a lovely commander yourself, if you are interested in any of these cute and lovely emotes, loyalty crown badges, you want a special role in the Discord, make sure to join the Discord. But as always, if you choose to do so, thank you so much. Just remember, that's not the only way that you can support me. Just watching the content like you are right now is truly the best way. Liking, subscribing, and commenting, everything really does help. So thank you guys so much. And for today's video, I just want to wish everyone a happy New Year's Eve or New Year's, depending on when you are watching this. But before we get started with today's video, I just want to give a massive shout out to Smilegate for making this a paid promotion video. Without you guys, I wouldn't be getting these kind of opportunities, so thank you so much. And as always, with these type of sponsorships, just remember that all of my opinions are of my own. They don't get to make me say anything that I don't want to say, so everything is 100% coming from me. But with all that transparency out the way, let's start talking about today's topic. And today, right now, we are coming up with a new month, meaning that we have a monthly reset of the shop, what you need to be buying at the start of every month to make sure you do not forget, and also take advantage of this farming event that we have ongoing right now. What should you be farming? What are some of the biggest bottlenecks that I've been ending up with, and giving some advice. So let's get started. So first things first, when we actually talk about the upcoming farming event that we have right now, this overdrive simulation, this is actually a really big event because for the first time in CZN's lifespan, this is our first farming event. So this is very important to take advantage of. And it was funny because right now, in the past, units used to be our biggest bottleneck. Units being the yellow square currency that you need everything to upgrade units, like actual units like the banners. You need a lot of that currency. That used to be our bottleneck back in the day, but they made a lot of changes that made upgrading banner characters cheaper and even partners cheaper, that you really don't need to worry about that. But quickly it became obvious that we have another bottleneck, and that's growth and potential. So depending on what you want to do, you might want to start farming. And if I have one gripe with this game, it's the fact that when they announce banners, they announce them so late that we do not have time to farm, unfortunately. Like with Nikke, we get a lot of time, you know, like a good little week at least to farm, but it's not really that hard to farm. In this game, it can be very difficult because the currency can be very limited. You might need to get more combatant level up materials right here. You might need to grind this. Maybe you're interested in getting the partner, so you also need to get this data as well. As you can see, I only have 13, so I need to get this up. But one of the biggest bottlenecks that a lot of people have also been complaining about is the potentials. These rocks, you need hundreds of if you plan to max out a character, and it's really unfortunate. I think it took me close or around like 200 rocks, I believe, to max out Serenial with these legendary rocks, and I did a lot of pre-farming and using some of my tiers so I can actually get some of that before the update came out. So I was somewhat prepared, but I had to take advantage of material I had, you know? And now I'm trying to max out characters that I want, like Mei Lin, Veronica. So I'm grinding rocks because of how important they are. Because on one hand, even though growth material is very important, at least there are some substitutions that you can do here. You can get it from either doing the policies, or you can take advantage of doing any of these battle missions and actually getting, you know, more growth material. So this is one way you can do that. Potentials, on the other hand, you really do not get very often, but there is a way that you can do it. And first off, make sure you're clearing your chaos shop right now, this whole event shop. Make sure you're taking advantage of buying the rocks when you can. Make sure that you're swiping everything you can. First and foremost, make sure you get your pulls. And that's why I really want to talk about this, because we have a monthly reset right now, and there is a lot of stuff that you can actually buy for free, taking advantage of this monthly reset. So when you go to this shop, it's not just like, you know, the paid shop. It might look like it, obviously, but there's a lot that we can do here for free currency that we have. So if you go to the memory archive and you actually go to the traveler section, you'll notice that this uses a different currency. This, a lot of people tend to have. So make sure you're maxing out and buying all of the rate up pulls, the standard pulls. Make sure you're doing that. And then lastly, all these rocks right here. Like I mentioned, even though these rocks are technically the blue ones and not the legendary ones, you can make them into legendaries when they ask for more. You can merge them. So that's perfectly fine. So I highly recommend buying them, especially if you're trying to max out characters. There's a lot to go around, but just not enough materials. So I completely understand the annoyance with it. But also make sure you get this affection, because affection in this game, it actually really helps if you focus on characters. You get a lot more stats over time. You can go all the way to 40. So those stats do stack up. So make sure that you're doing that. And then also the Zeronium shop. Make sure that you're doing the Hyper Basin and collecting everything here. Most importantly, you're probably going to want to grab this, because that means you're going to be able to select the stat you want on an equipment piece you want to make. You can't really, figure out the substats, but at least you can try to guarantee the main stat. These are always important as well. And then prism lenses, obviously, the actual gacha for the cosmetics. You cannot buy them, so this is your only way. So make sure you're prioritizing that unless you want to partner. And then the black horn trade. Remember, this is from actually doing the chaos and getting the crystals of discord. Remember, the monthly limit for this is 5. So these are always going to be your priority. So make sure that you finish these out first and then get anything else you want. And then from the exchange shop, remember, this is just the new kitty shop. So you don't really need to worry about this at all. So do keep that in mind, except if you are interested in any of the prism lenses using your prism film, make sure you are buying from the monthly limit and not from this one. It's not worth it because you're paying double for no reason. Make sure that you are buying from the standard set. It only costs 10. So do keep that in mind. And with this being New Year's Eve, we are getting a celebration. So make sure you check your mail and you get this New Year appreciation gift. We're sending you a New Year appreciation gift. Be sure to pick it up. And it's 1,000 crystals. That's free crystals that we didn't have before. So that's always good to see. And also, because of this New Year's event, they also released a cute little video. And that means that we got the new Happy New Year 2026. Remember, this is going to be 10 raid-up pulls and 5 standard pulls, which is actually interesting for this game, because for a lot of games that have this type of, pity system where it's a little expensive, it's actually nice to see that we're getting more raid-up pulls than standard pulls, and I think that's pretty cool. So make sure you're doing this for the 7 days. This does last close to 13 days, so just keep that in mind that you really don't need to stress this out. You just make sure that you're logging in and just constantly getting the pulls, and you'll get them eventually. And make sure that you are finishing up the queue towards the First Light event. You do get a little bit of pulls, and you get some stamina, you get crystals. So make sure you're doing it, and it's fun to read the letters. But other than that, I think that is going to be it. I just wanted to give you guys some quick advice so you know what you're doing. Make sure that you're farming what you can. Let me know what your biggest struggle is with farming right now and what you are focusing on. That is going to be it from me, so I hope you guys have a lovely day, a lovely night wherever you're from, and as always, thank you so much for the constant support. Take care, and have a good one.